Hey softball players, Dan Blewett here, and I want to go over why you should not point the ball to second base when you're throwing. So I was taught this as a young baseball player years and years ago. It's still being taught in youth baseball. It's still being taught in youth softball. I correct it on a monthly basis, and here's why this doesn't make sense. So number one, I cannot say why we started this. I think maybe because this feels like you're behind the ball, and then when we go forward, you'll be behind the ball again. I don't really know. Biomechanically, here's what happens. So our forearms cross over two joints. They cross over our wrist and help us flex. Our forearms also cross over our bicep. Our forearms also turn our hand, right? They control pretty much everything in this lower arm. When we are here, our forearms are slightly flexed to keep our forearm straight and to bend our elbow. If we turn our arm this way, we're now both activating our forearms here, and we're activating across this joint here by turning and pronating away. So now our forearms are doing more work than they need to, and so anytime muscle is like overly active, it tends to fatigue earlier, and when it fatigues earlier, it can't protect the joint as well. So I don't have research behind this, but a lot of higher minds say the same kind of thing, where if we're unnecessarily activating our forearms here, we're going to prevent our forearm muscles from doing their job and protecting the elbow. So you might get more elbow pain doing it this way. All right, so that's one reason we don't want to do that, because we get two joint action from our forearms pointing the ball to center field. The next thing, and this is the more important thing, to be honest, that I think this matters a lot, is when you think about the throwing motion, our arm, when it goes back, so we land here, and now our hips start to rotate, right? Our arm lays back, and then our arm goes forward. So what did you notice about me right then when I did this? If I land here, and we should land right about this point here, not quite up in an L, but no matter how we land, whether it's here or here, we want the ball facing towards third base. If I was on the pitching mound, we want the ball facing here, not towards center field. So third base, not towards center field. Because if I'm facing third base, as I start to go through my throwing motion, as my hips rotate, my arm goes directly behind, and look where my hand is. It's right behind the ball, and now it goes forward and I'm behind the ball. I haven't had to do anything else with my wrist. If I'm pointing the ball to center field, watch how my arm is. This doesn't make any sense. Why would my hand be facing this way as I'm accelerating my arm? It'd be like that. So if I point to center field, it has to turn back as I rotate anyway. This is two steps. It's here, step one, step two, and I'm behind the softball, which is what we want. That's how we're going to get the most carry. If I'm this way, it has to go and turn back to this spot to go back to front. So it's just kind of a common sense thing that this doesn't make a lot of sense, right? There could be some forearm issues, some elbow issues, turning the ball away, over activating our forearms. But also, this is just the simplest point from here to there to there. We're behind the ball, we'll get better spin, we'll get better carry. So I'd highly encourage you, if you're teaching this as a coach or as a parent, to stop. You don't see Major League Baseball pitchers throw this way. All the pitching research, all the research on throwing is done on baseball pitchers pretty much. And if you watch a Major League game, jump on YouTube, watch slow motion of pitchers, 98% of them, when they're landing and going through the throwing motion, you'll see the ball facing third base if they're a righty. You won't see almost any. There's a couple, but almost none that face it to center field. So if the hardest throwers in the world are doing it this way, good reason, good cause for not only young baseball players to do it, but young softball players to do it that well, or that way just as well.